미안합니다. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
The emotional promise Jungkook and Taehyung made that no one expected.
Don't
A work
say
of
that,
fiction
baby.
inspired by BTS. Some moments never make headlines. They are never captured by cameras or shared across social media. They exist quietly between people who have spent years standing beside one another through success, exhaustion, laughter, and uncertainty. This is one of those stories. On the evening of June 30th, 2026, the members of BTS gathered inside a peaceful rehearsal studio after another long day of preparations. The room was unusually quiet. The bright stage lights had been turned off, leaving only a warm glow from the ceiling lamps that reflected across the polished wooden floor. The atmosphere felt different. Nobody rushed to leave. Nobody reached for their phones. For the first time in weeks, every member simply enjoyed the silence. RM sat near the large window, reviewing a notebook filled with handwritten ideas. Jin leaned comfortably against the practice mirrors, smiling as he watched everyone settle down after hours of rehearsing. Suga quietly adjusted a melody on a small keyboard, while J-Hope stretched his shoulders, still carrying the endless energy that always encouraged everyone around him. Jimin poured drinks for the members without saying much, while Taehyung stared outside at the city lights. Jungkook remained seated on the floor. He wasn't exhausted. He was thinking. Months of preparation had brought the group closer than ever before. Yet everyone knew that the future would introduce new challenges. Individual projects, personal dreams, unexpected schedules, and responsibilities would naturally become part of life again. Even after everything they had accomplished together, change was inevitable. Nobody feared change, but everyone understood its weight. The peaceful silence was finally broken when Jin laughed softly after remembering an old rehearsal from years earlier. Within seconds, everyone joined in. Stories began flowing naturally. They recalled forgotten dance mistakes, embarrassing interviews, sleepless nights before concerts, unexpected moments backstage that only the seven of them would ever truly understand. Each memory felt more valuable than the last. The conversation slowly transformed from laughter into reflection. RM closed his notebook. "This journey has never really been about standing on stage," he said calmly. "It's always been about making sure we never lose what brought us here." His words settled gently across the room. No one interrupted. No one needed to. Suga nodded quietly. "The music changes," he said. "The world changes. Even people change. But trust has always stayed the same." J-Hope smiled. "And that's probably the reason we've survived everything." Jimin looked toward Jungkook before smiling warmly. "You've changed the most." Everyone laughed. Jungkook covered his face with both hands while the older members continued teasing him about the shy teenager who had once struggled to make eye contact during interviews. Those memories felt unbelievably distant now. Years had transformed him into someone more confident. Yet somewhere beneath that confidence remained the same youngest member who admired every older brother sitting around him. Taehyung quietly watched Jungkook smile. It reminded him how quickly time had passed. The two of them had shared countless memories that fans would never fully see. Late-night conversations, long practice sessions, moments of frustration, moments of celebration, long walks after concerts, simple meals shared without cameras. Those ordinary moments had quietly become extraordinary memories. As the evening continued, J-Hope suggested everyone write one sentence inside a blank notebook sitting on the table. "No speeches," he laughed, "just one sentence." Everyone agreed. The notebook slowly traveled from one member to another. RM wrote first, then Jin. Suga followed, J-Hope, Jimin, finally Taehyung. Each member closed the notebook before handing it forward, making sure nobody could read what had been written. Only Jungkook remained. He stared at the empty page for nearly a minute. His pen barely moved. Eventually, he smiled and finished writing before closing the notebook. Nobody asked what he had written. That was the point. Some words were never meant to be shared immediately. Jimin carefully placed the notebook inside a small wooden box stored on one of the rehearsal shelves. "Let's promise not to open this until the right day." Everyone agreed. The idea seemed simple, yet something about it felt meaningful. Hours passed without anyone noticing. The conversation eventually shifted toward the future. Not schedules, not performances, life itself. They spoke about growing older, about staying inspired, about continuing to create music that genuinely reflected who they were instead of chasing expectations. Taehyung quietly listened. Then he looked directly toward Jungkook. There was no dramatic music, no emotional speech, only complete honesty. "I hope," Taehyung said softly, "that no matter where life takes us, we never become strangers." The room became completely still. Those words carried a different kind of emotion. They weren't spoken out of fear. They were spoken out of gratitude. Jungkook looked down briefly before meeting Taehyung's eyes. His answer came without hesitation. "You'll never have to worry about that." Nobody expected the conversation to become so personal. Even RM remained silent. The youngest member continued speaking. "We've spent too much of our lives growing together. Success can change schedules, time can change routines, but it shouldn't change people." Jin smiled proudly. Suga quietly crossed his arms. J-Hope looked away for a moment, hiding an emotional smile. Jimin blinked several times as if trying not to become emotional himself. Taehyung simply nodded. Then, almost instinctively, he extended his hand toward Jungkook. Not for a handshake, not for a performance. Just a simple gesture between two lifelong friends. Jungkook immediately reached forward. The room remained silent. RM eventually stood up and walked toward them. Without saying a word, he placed his own hand beside theirs. Jin followed, then Suga, J-Hope, Jimin. Within seconds, all 7 members stood together once again. No cameras, no audience, no announcements. Just 7 friends quietly reminding themselves why they had come so far together. RM spoke softly. "People often remember our biggest performances." He looked around the circle. But these are the moments that actually build a lifetime. Nobody argued, because everyone knew he was right. Outside, the city continued moving as usual. Cars passed beneath glowing streetlights. People hurried home after work. The world remained completely unaware that inside one quiet rehearsal room, 7 lifelong friends had just shared one of the most meaningful evenings of their lives. Before leaving, Taehyung quietly looked back toward the small wooden box containing the notebook. He smiled to himself, not because of what had been written, but because every sentence inside that notebook represented something impossible to replace. Trust, loyalty, family, and one promise that would quietly become even more meaningful than anyone could possibly imagine. The story of that promise had only just begun. Morning sunlight slowly filled the rehearsal studio, casting long golden reflections across the empty floor where the 7 members had stood together only hours before. Nothing looked different, yet somehow everything felt different. The quiet promise they had shared the previous evening remained unspoken, but every member carried it with them. Over the following weeks, preparations became even more demanding. Dance rehearsals stretched late into the night. Vocal sessions blended into production meetings, while photo shoots, interviews, and creative discussions filled nearly every hour of the day. The pace was familiar. They had lived this rhythm for years. Still, something subtle had changed. There was a renewed sense of appreciation in every interaction. Jin continued making everyone laugh during breaks, refusing to let exhaustion take over the room. Suga quietly offered suggestions whenever someone struggled with a melody, often solving problems with only a few calm words. J-Hope encouraged the members during difficult rehearsals, reminding them that confidence was just as important as precision. RM kept everyone's ideas organized while making sure each member's voice was heard. Jimin constantly checked whether anyone had skipped a meal or needed a few extra minutes to rest. The smallest gestures became impossible to overlook. Taehyung noticed them all. So did Jungkook. One evening, after another demanding rehearsal, the members gathered around a long table inside the studio lounge. Dinner had arrived later than expected, and everyone was too hungry to wait for formalities. The conversation naturally drifted toward old memories once again. Jean laughed while recalling their earliest dorm days, when almost every meal became an adventure because nobody knew exactly what they were doing. J-Hope immediately added another story that caused everyone to burst into laughter. Even Suga, who usually listened more than he spoke, couldn't hide a smile. Jungkook watched the older members with quiet admiration. He realized that many of his happiest memories had never happened on stage. They had happened around simple tables like this one, sharing food, talking about nothing in particular, laughing until everyone forgot how tired they were. Taehyung noticed the thoughtful expression on Jungkook's face. Without saying anything, he gently slid a plate toward him before taking one for himself. It was such an ordinary gesture that no one else paid attention. Jungkook smiled anyway. He understood exactly what it meant. Days later, the group traveled together for another schedule. Between rehearsals and recordings, they found themselves waiting backstage in a quiet hallway. The atmosphere was unusually peaceful. No cameras were nearby, no interviews, no audience. Only 7 friends waiting for the next chapter of another busy day. RM glanced around before speaking. He said with a thoughtful smile, "People often think our strongest moments happen in front of thousands of fans." He paused briefly, "But I think our strongest moments happen when nobody is watching." Everyone nodded. The sentence felt undeniably true. Success had given them unforgettable experiences, but it was their unseen moments that had shaped who they became. Jimin looked toward Taehyung. "Remember what you said the other night?" Taehyung smiled. "I remember." "So, do we?" Jean answered warmly. Silence settled over the group once again. This time, however, it wasn't uncomfortable. It felt peaceful. Later that evening, Jungkook quietly returned to the rehearsal studio alone. He wasn't there to practice. Instead, he walked toward the wooden shelf where the small box still rested exactly where Jimin had placed it. He carefully lifted the box with both hands. He didn't open it. He simply held it for a moment before placing it back. The notebook inside represented more than words. It represented trust. Promises didn't become meaningful because they were written down. They became meaningful because people chose to keep them. As Jungkook turned to leave, he heard footsteps behind him. It was Taehyung. Neither of them seemed surprised. "I had a feeling I'd find you here," Taehyung said with a gentle smile. Jungkook laughed softly. "I wasn't going to open it." "I know." For several moments, neither of them spoke. The silence felt completely natural. Finally, Taehyung broke it. "When we first met, neither of us knew what life would become." Jungkook nodded. "We were just kids. And now?" Taehyung looked around the empty studio. "We've spent nearly half our lives growing together." Jungkook smiled. "I wouldn't trade that for anything." Those words carried no dramatic emotion, only honesty. Taehyung slowly extended his hand once again, just as he had done the previous evening. Jungkook smiled before shaking it. This time, however, they didn't let go immediately. Instead, Taehyung spoke quietly. "No matter where our individual journeys take us," Jungkook finished the sentence, "we always find our way back." The promise was simple. No audience would ever hear it. No headline would ever report it. No recording would ever preserve it. Yet somehow, it became one of the most meaningful conversations they had ever shared. Weeks passed. The members continued working harder than ever, preparing for new performances and future projects. Whenever challenges appeared, someone always reminded the others why they had started this journey together. Sometimes it was RM with thoughtful advice. Sometimes Jean with laughter. Sometimes Suga with quiet wisdom. Sometimes J-Hope with endless optimism. Sometimes Jimin with gentle kindness.